I remember you mentioned before at one of the conferences that techniques like pendulum would work particularly well for the youth or adolescents population. Can you explain a little bit about that mechanism, how that works?
Well, first of all, listening is a very good technique, a very good thing to do with youth, because often adults don't listen to youth. We think as adults we have the answers, we have the wisdom, we just need to impart that. And of course, when you do that, when you tell a young person, here's what you should do, you know what the next sentence is going to be. You know the youth is going to say, but yes, but, and give you the other side of it. In a way, the pendulum is patience. It's making sure you listen to what the youth or adult has to say. When they're reluctant about change, something inside you as an expert wants to disagree and correct it right away. It's the wrong thing to do. Because then you get into a debate and an argument that you're not going to win, you know. Instead, you listen to make sure you understand very well what it is the person is saying that they're reluctant about or what that they're concerned about. And you listen to it long enough that you reach sort of the upper end of the pendulum's swing, and naturally it begins to then come back in the other direction. So if you listen well enough, if you engage with the person well enough, if they get the sense that you really are trying to understand them and you really do care about them, it becomes safer then for them to explore the other side of their own ambivalence. See, the ironic thing in taking an expert approach of saying, here's what's wrong and here's what you should do, is that those are the words the other person needs to be saying. And if I take those lines, then I leave them the arguments against making a change, why they don't want to do it, why it would not be a good idea, what would be difficult about it. And we wind up, in a way, acting out the person's ambivalence, except that I'm taking all the good lines and I'm evoking from them all the reluctance. And human beings listen to themselves. So if I'm arranging the conversation in a way that they're making the arguments against change and I'm making the arguments for change, who are they going to believe? They're very likely to believe themselves. And that's one of the fundamental ideas in motivational interviewing. It's about patience also, not feeling hurried, not feeling rushed, being curious and interested to understand what the other person has to say. And that's really quite important. You know, an interesting thing here is that we know this as people also. We know that we don't like being told what's wrong with us. We know that when people tell us what to do, we want to move in the other direction in a way. That all of us know that. And so it's interesting that when people learn about motivational interviewing, it's not like hearing something strange and new. Many times people say, I already knew this in a way, but this is helping me be clearer of how to do this. I'm a parent and grandparent myself. And in a way, what motivational interviewing teaches us is what not to do. You know, how not to try to communicate with our children in a way that causes that kind of tension and drives them away from doing what it is we hope they will do. The practical how-to piece of this is very helpful. I mean, in a way, we're helping people learn how to do what we already know we ought to do, of listening to people and joining and understanding their wisdom about that. And ironically, that's part of what motivational interviewing does for other people too. It helps them to think about why and how to do what part of them already knows they need to do. And And so it's already in us, but how to do it, it's not easy to do this. Even the skills of listening are skillful. They take some practice. When you watch someone doing this who's good at it, they make it look very easy, but there is a lot of skill involved in just the listening piece. And so that's what we've spent 40 years trying to understand. Exactly what is it that you do as a helper that is helpful, and to teach people how to do that.